All right, and welcome back to Redcat Live, the one show where we like to wing it every single time we're out here and having a good time with all y'all because we got some of the best fan base and community members out there. So why not, right? On today's episode, we're going to be highlighting some really cool stuff, generally based off of the Gen8 V2 platform. With that said, we're going to go over a couple hop-ups that are offered for both Treal RC as well as the ones that we offer from the factory from Redcat Racing as well. So if you're here hanging out, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you guys can hear me good, and we'll get the show going. Wing it now. In other words, I can be heard. So, all right, guys, with that said, I'm going to introduce someone else, another amazing pivotal member here at Redcat Racing. Aaron is here to join us. Aaron, come on over, brother. Aaron here is in charge of making sure that all of our P's and Q's are set just right when it comes to pretty much just anything we do Redcat related, right? Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Oscar.
Thank you for coming on, brother, man. Tell the guys a little bit about what you do here.
I do a little bit of everything. I'm chief of stuff and things, I think is my technical job title. I do work with Matt, which a lot of you guys know from some of the other videos, working with some of the new products, and then just kind of filling in where needed around here.
I love it. You do a little bit of CAD work too, right?
Yeah, a little bit of SolidWorks, a little bit of Fusion, a little bit of everything.
Nice. And that's kind of one of the things that I personally truly enjoy about working here at Redcat, which is that we have a lot of members that are multi-talented on different levels. Not only are you into that aspect, but you are also an RC enthusiast.
Yeah.
Right? You've been with the company for how long?
We're looking at about 10 years now.
10 years. He's a lifer, guys. Man, so been here for 10 years. You've seen a lot of the changes, a lot of the growth. What has you excited about where we're headed as a whole?
Just kind of a little bit of everything. I think over the years we've stepped everything up. The product quality has definitely increased, and we're looking to increase it more going into the future while keeping everything affordable. That's the challenge here. So we've got a good customer base. We're looking to grow it, and just add more overall great people, more community friendly people, not so much negative that you see a lot of days on Facebook and Instagram. A lot of hate going on. We don't want any of that. We're just looking for the love. So
nice. One thing that I know a lot of our members of the community really enjoy is a lot of the stuff that you and Matt have done in offering the masses opportunities to 3D print their own stuff for the platforms that we offer. Some of the stuff that you do in essence is, and thanks to you were able to get a couple things printed for us to highlight today as well, so that we can remind everyone that you can go to Thingyverse.com, or you can go to the product itself on Redcat Racing and click the Thingyverse link there, and it'll take you to Thingyverse, and it'll show you every single option that we offer to all of our community members so that they can print at home.
Yeah, correct. We have some of the items on there, and then we also have some groups that feature other items that other users out there have created. So it's not just our designs. We have some groups, especially with the Gen 8 to Gen 7, the real popular cars, that don't just highlight the products that we've put out there, that some other items that other users in the community have made, and we make those available as well.
I love it. Tell us a little bit about a few things that we offer for the Gen 8, and specifically, maybe some of the things that you actually printed up today.
So today, I just grabbed some basic items. We've got a different grill. A lot of different grill options out there. A lot of people like to swap them out. So we've got just another 3D printed grill here that we've done here, and then we've got some gas caps and some door handles. Just some things that kind of spruce up the vehicles a little bit, make them a little bit nicer. Just the little details. All these cars, a lot of the crawling guys, especially the new stuff with the 64, accessorizing it, making it your own, making it personal. That's what we're looking to do. So. Just little trinkets like that. Some of the stuff is pretty small, but like I said, we've put out some files. We're looking to kind of do a little bit more of that moving forward, because we've noticed the community likes it, and if we can, spend a little bit of time, make something maybe that we see that the community wants, we're maybe not going to produce it necessarily right away. So we may just throw it out there, see if it takes off. If it's something that looks like it's popular, then we'll look into maybe producing it.
You guys have done an amazing job over the years of offering these types of tidbits to the people, to the communities, to the masses. And that followed through into the 64, right? And I know you guys, I know we're not going to talk all 64 because I
No.
promise you, we're going to get into this bad boy here in a little bit, and we're also going to wrench on it. But I do want to highlight the fact that that did spew over into the 64, and it allowed you guys to create some pretty cool stuff for it. I know Matt was really excited when he got involved in making trinkets for it. We offer, I believe, the convertible tonneau cover, right?
Yep.
For the rear. There's a couple of things like the headlight eyelids, the bumper pieces as well.
The 3D extensions.
Right, right. And then also some flint holders, is that correct?
Yeah, there's a couple little things, some little fun trinkets if you want to throw them on the back of there and kind of spark around the neighborhood a little bit. You just got to be careful with it, but yeah, they're just they're bump stops, I think is technically what they are.
Nice. So that's kind of just one of the things that we really want to do at Redcat, which is, yeah, here's your truck, enjoy it. No, here's your truck, make it yours, make it unique, have fun with it, because in my opinion, there's nothing more like geeking out on RCing than to do the things that makes your truck unique to you, right? One of our guys here just picked one up for his wife. He started putting a rack on it that he printed. He's going to put some headlights on it, some sleeping bags. He's got some twigs of wood that are tied up so that he has some lumber in there. Those are the kind of things that I personally enjoy a lot of, right? There's a lot of different avenues when it comes to crawling, from comp crawling to scale crawling to even, the 2-2, motor over axle type of setup where the old school type of stuff came from, So you guys have always offered a great platform, and I know you were around, obviously, to see the growth of the crawler scene within Redcat. In your best words, can you tell us a little bit about what is sitting here in front of us?
It's kind of a culmination of a lot of things. So the Gen 7 platform was very popular. The scale market and the crawling market was growing quite a bit, so they recognized that, and they wanted to make something that was not just kind of like a label slapper car, not a car that you can, another manufacturer may make, and then someone puts their own name on it. They wanted to make something that was ours. So that's like along the time when Matt came in, and then they came up with the Gen 8. So it's it's a really nice crawler. It does really well out of the box. Obviously, we've sampled all the other ones. This one, for the price, is really good. The Axe version is amazing.
Yes.
So, they ventured out a little bit into some other avenues with it, and it's still just a great truck. They just refreshed this one with some new body colors and some different options on it. Stuff that, maybe didn't go 100% as to plan with the first one, or, user-generated feedback. Hey, we don't like this little bump on the bottom of the skid plate. Can we get rid of that? And, Matt and those guys listened back then, and this is what we have today.
Right. A quick one. Thank you for that, Aaron. Black Turtle Garage, great, statement. We actually do offer the file for you to print a spare tire holder as well. So if you guys, want to do that, that's also an option. Really, there is quite a bit of stuff that you guys can print all on your own. And if you don't, hopefully there's a buddy that is into that as well and can upload those STL files so that he can, print at home as well. The Gen 8 has really been a flagship rig over the years. I know that the Everest 10 had been around for ages. You guys have done it. We still offer it till this day. But the Gen 8 has always been one of my personal favorites. I love the Scout body. No one else can get that one right. And you guys really nailed it when you guys released it. But on top of that, when it comes to a product and you want aftermarket support, right? That doesn't always happen overnight. And one thing that I always love about Redcat is you guys always stay ahead of the game by thinking ahead and making those, which is some of the stuff that you guys will see sitting up here, which is some of the hop-ups that we offer directly from Redcat on our website at redcatracing.com. In the description of this video, guys, I went ahead and put every part that we will highlight, as well as the links to each one if you guys choose to purchase some for your very own vehicles. What is your favorite part about the Gen 8?
Well, there's a couple different things. I like the portal axles personally. Makes it a little bit easier as far as crawling and everything goes. Some of the other trucks, the straight axle and the regular axle, they're fine and dandy and all, but it's kind of nice. It gives you a little bit extra control, I will say, on the low end. That's a nice design. And then also the battery tray. They do offer some different versions of the battery tray on the Thingyverse to put like a LiPo. So not everybody runs the same battery. You may want to run a shorty pack or something like that, turn sideways. There's some files on there where you can kind of modify it, and then just the general frame design in general. It's quite universal. You can kind of do anything that you want. It just takes a little bit of time, and then you can kind of do what you want with it.
Right. That's amazing in itself because, again, anything you do in RC, you don't want to have one rig that looks identical to everyone else's, right? So, that's why when I buy a truck, the first thing I go through is, what do I have in my bin of goodies? Do I got a jerry can, right?
Yep.
Do I have any trinkets, scale items that I can add? Things to make it mine. Stickers, right?
Yep.
Stickers are always great. And that's another thing too, guys. The stickers that we offer are they're really cool. And a lot of times, sometimes you find some that are like little tiny Easter eggs that somehow, way, shape, or form, something comes of them, and they're so nonchalant that most people never get it.
Correct. Yeah, that's definitely happened in the past, and it's probably going to keep continuing in the future. So definitely something to keep your eyes out on.
Right. So again, guys, all you guys that are joining us here late in the game or just now, we will be talking specifically about the Gen8 V2 and the hop-ups that we offer, as well as the ones that Treal RC offers as well that we sell on our website. We won't be really discussing much of the 64 or the other platforms. We've been doing nonstop episodes on the 64, and I think today is just going to be a chill session. We're just going to talk a little bit. We're going to take the lid off, talk about some of the things that comes stock on the Gen8, and then we're going to start maybe wrenching on it a little bit. We got an extra camera. We'll switch angles so that we can have you guys see what we're doing with it as well. So with that said, when we going crawling?
Crawling? I don't know. I mean, it's starting to get too warm here. I think it was 97 the other day.
Dude, I'm saying, like, I'm down for like a 5 a.m.
5 a.m. is a good time. Yeah, there's a park right down the road. We could definitely go in the morning.
Yeah, no, that's still too early for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So guys, with that said, let's kind of start diving into this. I'm going to move the Gen 8, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we have here. Let me see, dude.
Plenty of different accessories for the vehicle to change it out to kind of however you want it. Some of the stuff is just aesthetic. Some of the stuff actually does add performance. So we definitely have quite a few different things here, it looks like, to go over.
Right. So a lot of the stuff that we have, in essence, in my opinion, we have the more upgraded aluminum parts that we offer from the factory. And then we're going to have a lot more of what I feel might be more of the, like you've mentioned, the performance stuff. Things that are going to add weight, that are going to adjust the center of gravity, right? One thing that a lot of people that get into crawling don't realize is that when you get a truck and you open it up, it's a ready-to-run truck. And trust me, I've owned dozens of brands of RC trucks that are ready to run. In my opinion, any brand that is ready to run, I'd still highly recommend you taking your drivers and just snugging everything down, making sure everything is tight, everything is lubricated. It's just a nature of the beast. It's good ethic, in my opinion, when maintaining the longevity of your vehicle, right?
Oh yeah.
Is there anything else that you like to do to them?
Like when you get something like this out of the box, it never hurts, like you said, to go. I would call it nut and bolt from the scale world. Just kind of nut and bolt everything. Just go over everything, make sure that everything's tight. That's supposed to be tight. Check and make sure stuff's not missing. Just basically go over everything. Check the wiring, make sure there's no nicks, anything like that. This stuff is really getting good nowadays out of the box, so you don't have too many issues. But it is a human putting it together, so there is an element of error. And if we do have something wrong with it, don't be afraid to contact customer service. The guys over there are great. I know they're constantly busy over there helping people out. We get a lot of emails coming in, thank you. And then we see a lot of people on Facebook as well posting about how good the customer service is. So don't be afraid to try it if you feel something's not right with your vehicle.
I see the question coming up quite a bit. Guys, I know a lot of you guys want to know about the hat. This is a one-off hat that I'm wearing. No one else has one. As being who I am here, I was just like, one thing I need my own hat. Like,
Yeah.
I like trucker hats, but I need my own hat. And thankfully, they were like, "You got it." So, much love. Obviously, working here has its perks, and
But the shirts are available on the
but
website.
yes, the shirt is available on the website. Matt Jackson, he's got one too. So there you go.
It does. Yeah.
The employees, here we got some cool perks in that fashion, but that's where the hat came from, guys. Back to where we're at. Proper maintaining of your vehicle.
Yeah.
I always like to make sure, no matter what brand I use, no matter what I have, just as a good practice, to go over it, nut and bolt it, like you said. Sometimes I like to even take the diff covers off, add a little bit of extra. I like to use marine grease inside of them, because I actually, more often than not, bend the brim. I'm working on it. There you go. So that's where I keep it. I like to put a little bit of marine grease inside of the differential. I like to get my trucks wet. I usually only go, I won't fully submerge my trucks, but I like to get tire deep. And with that said, you have metal bearings inside. You want to make sure they stay lubricated. You don't want them to start drying out. You go home, you set your truck on the bench, you go and use it, and guess what? You got squeaky wheels while you're driving down the road.
Squeaky wheels and wet foams.
Yes. Oh,
that's a big thing.
Stinky wet foams.
Yeah.
And they deteriorate that way too. So,
yeah.
So some of the stuff that I feel was absolutely clutch in going over the V2 was things that I personally would do to my own vehicle in my own Gen 8 that I have now. So with that said, we'll start with the Redcat Racing. One of the things that I highly recommend any of you guys to look into is the actual light kit for the Gen 8. Out of the box, plug and play, comes with a module as well. One thing I highly recommend is when you get a Gen 8, save your packaging. Inside there is an actual package where you have the little tabs that lock the 5mm and 3mm bulbs to the housings. A lot of people tend to discard them or throw them off to the side. They are included, so don't lose them. If you do lose them, you have a recommendation for them.
Shoe goo never hurt anybody. A lot of people use it on the light kits. Just be sparing with it. You don't have to go crazy, but just a little shoe goo puts it on there. And then another thing to go off when you're speaking about the diffs. There's a lot of people I see online, they just pack those things full of grease.
Yeah, no, calm down.
Yeah, you don't need to go crazy with it. We don't need a whole jar of grease in there. We just need a little bit. You just need a light coating on those gears. You don't have to go crazy. If you do a lot of water stuff like what you're doing, it's just going to be a giant mess in there. The less grease you have in there in that situation is probably going to be better.
Right.
So you're not sealing it in, you're allowing it to get back out as well. So
right. In that fashion, I just want to put enough to coat the bearings.
Yeah, just lightly coat the gears. I tend to put like we'll say three drops, we'll call it, one on each opposing side, and then you'll be good to go. Yeah,
you gotta love it. Yes, I have a normally large head, and the trucker hat doesn't fit. So
yeah, he's got a unique hat. What can you say?
Listen, it's 8 1/4. Leave me alone, okay? You know what they say about people with big heads? We got big brains. So that's the light kit, guys. It is available on the description so that you guys can look it up and pick one up. Again, plug and play. Awesome kit. This one does come with the 16 light kit. So it'll come with the 4 brake lights, I believe, the rear reverse, as well as the fronts and the bumpers as well. So great addition to any Gen 8 out of the box.
Yeah, it's simple, something anybody can do, and then you can drive it at night. It's kind of cool. Throw it out in the backyard, let your dog chase it around, or even your neighbors. You get a lot of questions like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, that's an RC car. And then they'll come check it out, and then they'll buy one, and then you guys, got more family time.
Right. So we have the 3D printed grill. There was a great hop-up that I saw that I have to have. So I personally chose all of these items for this show, and the next item that I want to show you guys that I think is so cool is a billet version of a grill, right? This one is an aluminum grill. It does fit the front of the Gen 8. As you guys can see, there's the black stock grill, and there is a sticker behind that shows the radiator. So this bad boy would literally bolt on right to that. So great addition. I definitely wanted to get this because I'm into the black Gen 8 axe,
Yeah.
aluminum and blacked out look. That's kind of my style where I wanted to go with it. So, again, aluminum grill also on the parts list of Oscar's choice. It does come with the hardware, self-tappers, so you guys can mount them as well.
Yeah. And another good thing about some of the aluminum parts and things like that is they get a little wear, they get a little character. So as you take this out and you go bash it and you fall down rocks and you go over things, it scratches it up, and then it kind of makes your vehicle your own. Like what you're saying with the pictures earlier, there's only so many stock pictures of the vehicle that people want to see.
Right.
So when you add some of these other accessories and things like that and you throw them out there on social media, we've all seen the stock photos. Now we're going to have something that's not quite so stock. So,
Right.
and it can influence other people into maybe purchasing grills for theirs, or you put a little paint on there, you scuff it up.
It might even influence us to share your picture, right? One cool
Correct.
thing that we like to do at Redcat is we don't like to go out and take our own pictures. We like to reshare the amazing pictures that our community members take of their trucks. They take immense pride in what they've built, and we want to back them up in that same fashion, right? The next thing that I think is also an amazing crucial aspect or hop up from Redcat Racing directly is going to be, and this is a must, the aluminum shock towers. These specifically ones are the rear, and we also have the fronts. So fronts do come with a panhard mount built into it, which is a little hard to tell here, but we'll go over it on the separate camera here in a little bit. But again, a great addition to beefing up the suspension, and it just looks cool. When you have a side view and you are looking inside the fender wells and you see the aluminum parts kind of shine, it's just a cool addition in my opinion, right? In every truck I've ever owned, no matter what it's been, it's always been a hop-up that I feel has been a very important one for me.
And then the nice thing about them is they do have all the same mounting locations as the stock one. So if you tinkered with your truck a little bit, you like maybe the shocks up a little bit higher up, a little bit lower, maybe you have them canted front or rear. They still have those options. So
Right.
and it's a little bit beefier. Part makes it look nice, and it still has the function.
Right, and as Aaron mentioned, there's 9 position holes to mount the shock to, so you can angle it, move it up and down anywhere that is appropriate. Now, the cool thing about what we did with the Gen 8 is that we incorporated that into the plastic mounts as well.
Yeah.
But it's awesome that you guys also took that over into the aluminum ones so that people can get that
Right.
multi, diversity.
Yeah, when they
of
can
use.
adjust the wheelbase, they can move the shocks forward or back. Same concept. That
Right.
way, you have that adjustability that we offer out of the box, also with the hop up.
Right. Another cool thing next on the list, in my opinion, will be things like these. Let's see, the portal housing sets. So these bad boys, they actually end up replacing. So they actually end up replacing
The housing.
the actual housings, the extensions at the end. So in a cool way, when you take those cool pictures, guess what? Now you got some aluminum hop-ups that are visible. Not so much a huge performance upgrade in my opinion, but definitely one that looks cool.
Yeah,
right?
it adds a little bit of durability and adds some of that weight down low, which the crawler guys do like. So it's a little bit of both. And then, like you said, you could hit this with a little bit of like a little black spray paint or something like that. And then, like as you crawl over rocks and you hit things, it kind of
Scrapes off.
scrapes it up, gives it a little of that patina.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just a shelf clean. You've got your actual, hey, I actually use this truck.
Right. And these are great. And of course, you want the next step in, which is the front outer portal housing set. And these are the ones that actually go behind these bad boys. And again, we offer them for the front and the rear. So that, again, everything looks all done up. So again, all of these aluminum parts, they're not high mass parts. So they're not going to add a large amount of low center of gravity, but in essence, these are really cool stuff that the factory offers. And to be honest with you, we don't have to offer it, but we want to. We want to make sure that we give people options. So again, housing sets for the portals, awesome upgrade. Does beef them up a little bit as far as the points where they're mounted to, but definitely something you're going to want to have as well. So another one, if you want to tell us a little bit about this bad boy.
Yeah, so these are just the lower aluminum links. So basically where the shock mounts and where your links mount, well, I should say shocks mount, but you can put a sway bar on these, or your just your standard mounting locations for your lower links. You see guys use these for a lot of different things. I've even seen these put on chassis and on all kinds of different things. People out there are doing a lot of different things with these, but they're just a simple basic part to that does, you know, hit the ground and hit the rocks and hit some of the other stuff, and it just adds a little bit of durability and then just a little bit of character to the truck.
Nice, nice. So again, aluminum lower link mount set for the axles. Another Oscar choice product for the Gen 8 as well. Not heavy, not high mass, but definitely not beefier than the plastics would be.
Yeah.
So that is my choice of parts for the Redcat stuff. Now we're going to go into my choice of parts when it comes to the Treal upgrades for the Gen 8. And in my opinion, you got to add weight, right? And you don't want to have rotating mass.
Correct.
You want to minimize the amount of pressure and strain that we're putting on the drivetrain. So you want the mass to be static, exactly. So in my opinion, there is no better way of doing that to start with than the Treal Racing axle housings. It's a great place to start. It removes the plastic ones that come on the vehicle. It gives you aluminum, and these are aluminum all the way through. I know a couple folks were asking questions, wondering because they're matte black if they were plastic and only the cap was aluminum, but that's not the case.
Yep, full aluminum.
So these bad boys, awesome. Now, if you go this route, then you're going to have to go with something like the Treal brass portal housings, and these are some real heavy, high mass housings. You know, one thing that Treal's always done is they've always offered a lot of brass products for you know, different brands, and the Gen 8 was no different. They wanted to make sure they offer the same high quality brass products for the platform to add to it, and again, lower center of gravity. The name of the game, if you want to crawl good out there, is you want to control your center of gravity no matter what you do, right?
Yeah.
We also offer the actual weights as well that you can add to the housing itself outside, so that, again, these do not rotate. They mount fixed to the actual housings. Again, nice heavy mass. It does not specify. Oh, this one does. This one's a 62 gram. Wow, 62 grams.
That's quite a bit, yeah.
That's a lot.
And it's nice and down low.
Yeah, yeah. So again, why lower center of gravity? Well, when your truck is scaling on the trail, crawling, you know, and you start to side hill, okay, and you're going up on the side of a hill, and you got this angle going on. You have a body on it. You have your rack on it. You got some weight into it. You got the battery inside of it. What tends to happen is that the truck itself can only handle so much before it wants to tip over, right? So by adding such products like the heavy-duty weights, the axles, the portal housings, it could change your pivot point to about here as opposed to maybe tipping over at this point. So it allows for a lot more, in my opinion, crawlability.
Yeah. A lot of people, like what we were saying, they take and they put all those accessories on the body, and then they don't realize they've just added half a pound to the top of the car.
Right.
And this is a good way to add some weight down low to kind of counteract that, so it's not just a look nice trail truck. It's actually one that you can go out and use.
Right, exactly. And, you know, with that said, because Treal puts what they put into their products, they make them real beefy, you know, yeah, they can kind of handle a little bit more of the grunt as well. You know, it's been amazing to see just how much adding that weight down low helps, you know, a lot. And you have to think about it. If we're adding weight to this, you don't want to add weight here. You don't want to add weight here. You already are carrying weight in the center for the battery, but you're carrying your weight down low right here where it matters the most, right? That's the lowest point closest to the ground. So for all you crawler guys out there that are just kind of getting into the scene, that's what you want to keep an eye on. If you don't want to spring for axle housings and the weights and the portal housings to add weight, there's two little easy things that you guys can do. Actually, 3 or 4. And this is the 4 items that are left on my Treal list that I feel are very important. Actually, it's actually 3 parts because it's doubles,
front and rear,
right? Which is the diff housing from Treal, which is a 75 gram diff housing. So that, you want to hold that for a second. You would, in essence, remove the diff cover, which is an aluminum one already.
Yep.
It's durable, but it's more lightweight, being aluminum. Is it aluminium?
It's a tick for tat,
You
just
know,
6 one, half a dozen
Where's,
the other.
where's Matt when we need him?
He's probably, I think he was looking at a periodic table last time I saw him.
You know, I saw that too. I think he was contemplating it. But so removing these, you add the Treal option that you guys see here, and that adds 75 grams down low on the pumpkin itself. Again, a great option for adding weight down low to help distribute, right? That's a really easy, inexpensive way to add weight, and it's not rotating mass. You do that to the front, you do that to the rear, right? So you've got to make sure you cover both ends there. Then you have one option that I like, which we do offer, and you guys saw them with the Redcat ones, which is the ones for
The link
Treal,
mounts.
right? Which is the brass lower link mounts for the Gen 8. And the link mounts itself, again, brass, high mass, a little more weight. Every little bit helps, right? So option with that, the diff covers, and one tiny little addition, which is not a huge amount of rotating mass. It does add a little bit, is hub extenders. Hub extenders from from Treal Hobby adds just a little bit more to it. Again, every little bit adds up, right? The end game is to make sure your crawler crawls and it's enjoyable for you. It's hard to find a brand that is enjoyable out of the box. The Gen 8 is, which I am so happy and proud of. But having these options to take you to the next level is always awesome.
Yeah. Right. And like you said, the good thing is it does crawl great out of the box, especially with the portals and everything. It's got a little bit more ground clearance than some of the other ones. So you're able to go over some obstacles and still enjoy it in the stock form. But if you do want to, add some stuff, we have plenty of options.
So with that said, guys, we're going to change camera angles here in a few seconds so that we can actually do a little bit of wrenching. And some of the things that I think we're going to knock out here on the show within the time that we have is going to be the front? The rear?
Yeah, that's the front.
That's the front.
Should be.
Should be. Let me see.
Sorry.
So let's go with the diff covers.
Simple.
And then we'll go with the link mounts.
Okay.
Okay. So hold on one second. Let me change screens here.
Okay.
All right, guys. So here you go. So tell me, what's some of the cool stuff that you guys like to do out there with your crawlers, or anything that you guys like to do that other folks aren't really doing at this time, that you guys feel that should be done? What is your favorite type of crawling to do?
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff out there as far as the crawling world goes, and the good thing about crawling is it's good for all ages. So it doesn't matter what your age. I mean, most people can walk, and if they can't, they have access to a park where they can, bring their crawler, a little bit slower speed, a little bit more fun, and then, let your kids do it, let everybody else do it.
Absolutely. One thing that I really, really enjoy when it comes to crawling is that it, for me, has been probably my most favorite avenue of the hobby. Family friendly, it's enjoyable, to all extents. You're not going to break things as easily because you're not going, full throttle everywhere. My kids personally love it. Each one of my kids has a crawler, and they love, going out crawling with Dad. One of our traditions is to, go out crawling, and after that is let's go get something to eat.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is good for everyone, and you don't have to have the best hand-eye coordination on the planet. You don't have to be a racer or anything like that. Anybody can go out and do it. It's fun. It's simple, and it gets you outdoors. You're not stuck in your house. I know during this past year it's been trying times, but when I've been able to get outside and whatnot, I have seen a lot more people out on the trails. And, a lot of them do have these RC cars now. It's starting to get a little bit more popular again.
Would you say that from where you stand, anyways, from what you can see, with COVID and everything going on, that the hobby kind of grew a lot more?
I would say so. I think a lot of people weren't able to go out and spend all their money, their hard-earned money, on going to the movies or things like that, and they picked up things that they could do with their family or, do around their house. I mean, everybody for the most part has got a backyard or an apartment with an area with some rocks or, a ditch or some gravel, and the crawling is a great way to get out. It's like we said, it's not fast. You can walk behind it. Some people put them on dog leashes. There's all kinds of crazy things. If that you go to these big crawling events, you're going to see everyone in there, and it's like you said, it's a giant family.
Yeah, that's the thing there was a time where, we host events in California all the time, and there was a family that was just there having a good time, and they just arrived. They just happened to be there at that day. And so, we all kind of came together, and just so you guys can see in the video. So here's a diff housing. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws that came off. I would say this does have some mass to it. Not a ton, but I can definitely feel it. And as you can tell in here, guys, for all you guys out there, because I know I see and hear that sometimes, I don't know if they came with grease. Do they come with grease? There it is, guys. There's the grease. You guys can see it. It's packed in there. And that's the way they come from factory. So
yeah, and the nice thing is you can actually see the diff as well. Like, it's not completely covered in grease.
Right.
Because, like I said, some people fill those things up and you can't see anything. You just need a little bit on those gears, run it around a little bit on that ring and pinion. Just make sure there's just a light coat on there, and that's all you need.
Right. Back to what we have. Wow, that is
such
a
it's heavy.
change. I mean, guys, take a look at this. You guys can see the mass difference.
Yeah, and we're not even talking about your hands either. We're talking about the parts.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Professional hand model here.
Right. So, So one cool thing is this family. They never really knew anything about crawling. It wasn't their scene, and but they were excited. They were intrigued by what was going on, and we all just said, what, let's go put a crawler in their hand. So we grabbed the dad, and we're like, hey, would you mind if we gave you a crawler to crawl with, just to hang out for the day? And they did, and me and my buddy, or my buddies, I should say, Brandon, Tommy, Eric Sarsano, and Jeff. I think Jeff gave the battery. Brandon lent his truck out, and I had a couple Everest 10s that I always bring with me. And so I handed out some Everest 10s, and what happened after that was that this family loved and enjoyed the atmosphere and the camaraderie of crawling so much that they got invested into the hobby, and they actually now participate every year in helping our community as well, and now they're part of what we do,
Right.
So it really goes leaps and bounds in that fashion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these crawlers, we're seeing a lot of it, especially with the community with the scale accessories and whatnot. We're getting a lot of people that are into maybe models and the shipbuilding and all these other fun activities that they do that they did when they were kids, or that they do with their kids. So they'll get out their paint, they'll accessorize their truck, they'll add their little hop up parts here and there, or they'll just paint a lot of the stock parts, and it's good. It's educational. I know we've here in the past we've given some of these cars to some of the schools to kind of go over the mechanical aspects of it, because that's something that is kind of being lost a little bit in schools nowadays.
Right.
Not a lot of hands-on with the mechanical aspect of how to change things or how to do things. A lot of days now, people just replace stuff. They don't know how to fix anything. So this gives them an opportunity to learn and have a hobby on the side. Like, hey, this is how you take stuff apart. You don't have to worry about it. It's just an RC car. But, it'll get them started.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that, aside from also, I think music is huge. We don't see a lot of that in school. Equally, the mechanics is big, right? I mean, I remember taking automotive shop.
Yep.
That was a great time. So as you guys can see, the 6 screws that I took out, I'm now putting 6 new ones. The Treal diff cover did come with its own set of screws, so I'm going to be using those. You don't want to really over-tighten them. You just want to get them good and tight.
Yeah, the German torque spec, so good
Yes,
tight.
good
And
tight.
another thing to note here is you did use a drill to remove the screws, which is fine. But when a lot of people, like I said, new to the hobby, they see people using these drills, don't necessarily use the drill to put that thing all the way back in.
No, yeah. I always like, and as you mentioned, I can remove them with the drill. And listen, if you've been in the hobby for years, like Aaron and me, you can probably put them back on with the drill and know your points. But even we make mistakes.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's easy to and then you strip something out, and then you got to use CA to try and hold it in there. And,
Yeah.
it's just easier to just use the tighten it by hand, make sure it's not too tight.
There's the housing, guys, right there. Let me see if I can get it to focus. There it is.
Yeah, nice
Looks nice,
black and brass, and when you go
Right.
beat that thing up, it's gonna look cool.
right? So that's the rear one. We obviously have one on the front as well. But I think what we'll do is we'll take the wheels off because you guys already saw that, and we'll do the link mounts. So
Perfect.
on the link mounts, really easy to do, guys. And again, all these hop-ups will cost you some money to purchase. And if you're anything like me, when you get scale mail, I get all excited. I want to, start tearing it apart. And sadly, I'm so quick at what I do that 20 minutes later, I'm like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah, now you just got to buy more stuff, which is a good and a bad thing.
Right.
Like I said, like the crawling, especially with the family. I know when I started years and years ago, there was no crawling; it was all racing when I started. So I did a lot of racing and stuff like that. But now that I have my son, the crawler was the first vehicle that I gave him. It's just real simple. It's something you can put into anybody's hands, like we said, and just you can get out there and just go and have fun. You don't have to, worry about having the best hand-eye coordination in the world, and they're durable.
Right, right.
They don't go super fast.
One thing you guys should also take into consideration, and we'll show you right now as well. Thank you, Aaron. The Gen 8 does come with metal links, which is not something that traditionally you see with a lot of other brands. So metal links, aluminum housings for the shocks, right? Aluminum shocks. Even, metal hexes, which is not something that you generally would see with a lot of the out-of-the-box trucks. He would be more in a kit that you would see something like that. So, again, great stuff right out of the box from Redcat and the Gen 8. So what we're going to be doing here, and you guys can see, is I have the lower link mount, which is this bad boy right here. We're going to go ahead and take this screw out nut, and then we're going to go ahead and drop the link down. And there should be a screw here that keeps it fixed to the housing itself. So we'll go ahead and start by taking that lower mount off.
Yeah, these are very simple to install. Something, like we said, anybody can do. And it's a good thing to just get started with. Don't be afraid to grab some tools and tear into these. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't know is tools. Tools are everything, especially with these smaller hardware that you're working on these cars. Some of these drivers that he's pulling out here, you've probably seen them if you've gone to any racetrack, but any good hobbyist is going to have a good hobby set of tools. And these are made by MIP. These are really high quality. That's what I personally use. And the tips last forever on these.
They do. And if you are anything like me, I have what I consider my trail stuff. And then I have my work at home stuff that I use. And what I ended up doing is I go to MIP.com or your local hobby shop, and you can actually buy your MIP drivers by themselves, so that when you do work and you use something like this, which is a really low torque, I think it's like a $10, $15 find at Home Depot, they actually are set for them. So again, great for taking stuff off. I do not recommend anyone using them to put things on unless you've been doing it already for years and your capabilities.
And some of the different drills that you're going to see out there are going to have a clutch on them. Not all of them have a clutch, so there's a good chance you may already have one, or even your regular drill that you have at home, your regular right angle normal drill you can use to take these cars apart. Like I said, just make sure you've got some good bits. The tools are important with anything. If you don't have the right tool for the job, it's always going to make the job harder. So it's a simple investment that's going to pay off quite a bit. The more you get into this and the more you work on stuff, you see it with everyone when they come into the hobby. They start off with their their terrible Allen wrenches that they got at Home Depot for $5, and then a week or two down the road after they broke a couple things, you see them. Right. Hey, what kind of tools are you using?
Listen, I shamefully thought to myself, you know what? All the RC tools, they're whatever. It's all hype. I'm gonna buy Snap-on. So I went and bought Snap-on drivers.
Gonna go broke quick.
I went broke quick, and they still did not last.
Yeah,
I stripped them very quickly. I've had these sets of MIPs for well over 5 years. I mean, they do hold their ground, and they stand behind their product. They're really good guys at that.
And I believe that's all made in the USA as well.
Yes, I do believe so.
Nice.
Yeah. So as you can tell, guys, I went ahead and I took off that lower nut right here. I'm going to just drop the link out, as you can see right there. So now that exposes 2 screws inside of the actual mount that I'll go ahead and remove so that we can swap that over. So what is your guys' favorite time to crawl? Anybody out there likes to crawl in the rain? Or how about crawling in the desert? I'm personally, it doesn't matter to me. Rain or snow or shine, I'll be out crawling, having a good time. I have crawled in severe snowstorms at an event. There was a taco truck there. And it was so blistering cold that I literally, they had a taco truck and I ordered a burrito. By the time I walked 10 feet from the taco truck to my truck, my burrito was ice cold. Oh, it was like a frozen burrito.
Yeah, you don't want that.
So, all right, guys. So here you go. Here's the difference between the two. There we go. So you have your standard mount plastic on this side, and then you have the Treal. Come on. There we go.
You need the old hand behind.
Right. There we go. Maybe like that.
That's usually the trick. So I've heard.
Right. So, but yeah. So the one difference between the Treal one and the Gen8 factory one is the Gen8 has 2 mounts there and there to mount your link, so that it gives you some flexibility for moving the link mount from the bottom to the top. Treal offers 3 different mounting locations, which you can see right there. So again, a little more flexibility for adjustability in that fashion. Same 2 screws will hold the actual mount to the housing itself. So we'll go ahead and start putting that back on now.
Yeah, it's a fairly painless process. And then it familiarizes you with the truck. So if you are out on the trail and you do have a problem, now you kind of know how to tackle it a little bit. You've got a little experience. Hey, I've taken this apart before. I don't have to worry about maybe, this screw may fall or this nut may fall. So you don't lose that stuff out on the trail.
I've always seen people that were on the trail and they want to enjoy the hobby, and every truck breaks, guys. I don't care how much bulletproof and how much money you throw at it. Things just wear and tear. It's a nature of the beast. So do not get discouraged. But I've seen so many people where they literally are like, I'm done. It's a wrap. I'm like, hey, it's cool. You know?
It's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun.
Right. And one thing that I love about crawling with folks is that when you're out crawling, having a good time, you tend to, have people that kind of go up to you and they're like, oops, I put that backwards, like that.
Yep.
Actually, I think this is the wrong side.
Yeah, there's left and a right.
So if that one goes like that.
And then if you get it wrong, you just try the other one, right?
You
got a 50-50 shot of having it right.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes,
those are good odds.
Yeah. 1 in 50 to win, right? Yeah. Can't beat sunny days in Cali, man. I miss those days. Now I enjoy sunny days in Arizona. It's a definitely different beast.
Yeah, it's definitely different. The cool thing about Arizona is we're kind of close to a little bit of everything, which is unfortunately why so many people are moving here. We've got the beach. You can head over to San Diego. You can go up into the mountains just up north here, Flagstaff. You can go Colorado. You can go to Texas. Vegas is 4 hours. So there's quite a bit of diversity. Around here.
No, that's definitely true, and it holds true. On so many levels, because just like in the area in California where I came from, I could literally be, in the snow in 2 hours, on the beach in 2 hours, or on Highway 5 headed to Los Angeles, and and here, same aspect. In a few hours, you can be up north. It's a lot cooler. It's a lot more, different type of more foresty, right?
Yeah. little bit different terrain. And then another thing you got to think about for those of you guys that are out in those cold conditions is that a lot of this stuff is plastic on these cars. So when it's tested and it's made, it's kind of designed to be used in, let's say, 75, 80 degree, 100 degree temperature. When this stuff gets cold like that, it does get brittle. So you will have some failures that you're not going to normally see if you are in those extreme conditions. But with the crawlers, you're not going to notice it as much. And these are actually quite a bit of fun in the snow, actually, as well. As long as you don't have a 9 or 10 pound truck, they kind of sit on top of the snow a little bit. It's quite a bit of fun.
Right. And just a quick note, guys, the Treal RC does come threaded on the mount. So as you guys can notice, I actually put the nut on as it started protruding through. So now that it's in there and against it, I'm going to use my wrench to hold it in place. And this is a 5.5 millimeter. I'll go ahead and just snug it down.
Yeah, and another thing with some of these aluminum hop-ups, if you're putting stuff into plastic, you don't need Loctite, but don't be afraid to put a little Loctite on there. The thing that I see is a lot of people buy blue, and there's nothing wrong with blue if you want something kind of more semi-permanent, but purple is actually a really good option. It's a little bit weaker than the blue, and it just makes you be able to get some of the parts off just a little bit easier. If you got some nice clean parts and you put some of that blue on there and you're new and you put a lot on there, you might be struggling to get that off, especially if you use red. But the purple is also another good option for those that are kind of new to the hobby.
So there's the mount now, guys. As you guys can see, let me go. There you go. So there it is. It's all mounted up. I put it back on the lower link mount, which is pretty good. And again, an easy 2 minute, 3 minute hop up.
Yeah, depending on what side you try and put on, it could take a little more or a little less.
Right. So what we'll do is we'll take off the rear wheel. We'll do the rear one on the same side, and then we'll see where we land, guys. But man, I do appreciate all you guys kind of hanging out with us and showing up and having a good time with us, going over some of these hop up parts. And again, this is kind of more for the guys out there that are just kind of getting into the scene. They want to enjoy the hobby, and they want to be steered in the right direction, right? Yeah. There's a lot of misinformation out there as to how to properly set your cars up, and we're no different. We eat, breathe, sleep this stuff, and again, we just want to make sure we give you guys some cool options that you guys can definitely enjoy. So again, your hexes, something simple, the ones that Treal offers, literally just go back on just like that right there. So
and it's nice that they are metal or aluminum, because like we were saying earlier with these trucks, the more stuff people put on them, the heavier they get. Those plastic hexes are going to strip out. You're going to actually spin the pin inside the hex, where with these aluminum ones, you're not going to necessarily have that issue.
Right. That's true. That's true. So again, that's off right there. We'll go ahead and take that off too. Lower mount.
The sweet sounds of the drill.
Right.
Yeah. Looks like still got some folks watching, which is good. This is just like you said, kind of an entry level, beginner into, I'll call it wrenching per se. And just because you have an RC car doesn't mean you don't have to work on it. It's just like your real car. So that's something that is often neglected. It is fun to go take these things out, like you said, get them muddy. In Florida, man, these things rust.
Yes. And I've also I've made the mistake of taking trucks to the to the beach,
to the ocean, yeah.
And I've actually sunk one or two, and I've destroyed electronics. You name it. It's been nasty.
So, and I believe, what do we quote these things as, water resistant, or there's nothing that's waterproof. Only I think they say water might be waterproof, but I'm not even sure if that's the case. I have seen one of these turn into a submarine once. It was at a Christmas party a few years ago. One of our employees, everybody got a truck for the holiday, and we took it out at Popco Park over here. And a lot of the trucks are the same paint scheme, because they're all just fresh out of the box. And one guy thought he was driving his truck, and he was looking at somebody else's. And next thing you know, we had one in the lake. This thing was it was quite a ways out there. I can't believe it worked. But, learning experience for all involved. I've never seen one of these swim before, and we certainly don't recommend it. But there is some water resistance. He had a little bit of fun getting that thing all cleaned out afterwards. But
Well, I was actually recording a video, a teaser video, for a competition we're doing in California, and of course I had my truck sitting there right next to the ocean. And if you guys that are not anywhere near an ocean or know what it's like, there's these what we call creeper waves, and they kind of just creep up on you, and before you know it, they'll sneak up on you and take whatever was on the rock. And my truck went into the ocean. I lost electronic speed control servo, ESC, everything fried out. The salt water is probably the worst thing you can ever put your trucks through.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I've known a few people that travel around doing a lot of RC related stuff, and they come back from Florida, and their cars are, I don't want to say junk, but anything that they weren't able to clean before they put it back on that airplane to get it back here, it usually ends up in the trash. So make sure, like, when you're done playing with these, it's fun to throw the truck down. It's all nice and muddy and dirty, but once that thing dries, man, it's a lot of work getting that stuff off. So
that's why I always tell everyone, when you get a chance, if you go and play in the water like that, fresh water, rinse it off with fresh water, make sure that it's good. You definitely want to protect your investment. And let's face it, our hobbies, our toys, they're an investment of our fun. So making sure that we take care of them is very crucial. So, all right, guys, there you go. Rear one's on as well, as you guys can see.
Yes, I think you can.
Right there. So we got the front and the rear done. Again, simple little tasks to do, nothing major. So yeah, that's where we're at. We are just shy of our normal time, guys, and we appreciate you guys swinging by and hanging out with us and talking RCs and going over some of the hop-ups. If you own a Gen 8, and if you want to do some hop-ups to it as well, and you modify it, make sure you share it on all of our pages. We want to see them. We want to see what you are doing with your trucks as well. And we hope that something as simple as just kind of going over some of the stuff that we offer and the Treal hobby stuff that is offered as well kind of lets you know that there's a lot more stuff to do to your stuff and to have a good time with.
Oh yeah, always fun. Plenty of accessories out there, like you said, and you don't have to do anything to your truck. You can just crawl with it and have fun with it. But if you do decide you want to kind of play with it and hop it up and make it your own, like what we said, there are options out there, whether it be our products or the Treal products, or even, like I said, 3D printed accessories. That stuff, that's kind of a market that's growing. A lot of people are seeing it in some of the other hobbies, we'll call it, and that's a hobby in itself. So, you can kind of make anything your own. You just gotta, kind of go out there and look and see what you can find.
Right. So we're gonna end the show on one quick question, and I'll ask myself the same question.
Okay.
If you can give the new guy one recommendation when it comes to crawling, what is it?
Man, I don't know. There's so many different things you could do. For someone new just getting into crawling, just take your time. You're not going to, wheel speed is kind of king with these, I've noticed. So just punching it and trying to drive up everything is not necessarily the best way to get up something. So maybe lay back a little bit, watch somebody else go up it, and take your time, You don't have to go flying up it. You'd be surprised. It's a little more challenging that sometimes the faster you go. So it might be a little bit easier for you if you do try and take it slow.
Right. Chris Wheeler, thank you. Great example there. Mixing Simple Green and WD-40. That we're not making drinks, bro. Sorry, stop that. Just kidding. He says that it works great to spray down the suspension, so that way you can blow off the dirt and grime that kind of builds up. That to me, that sounds like it's probably maybe like an old racing trick.
It's kind of a racing thing, and it will add a little bit of shine to the plastic. Another product that we kind of used back in the day was made by a company called Maxima. It's called SE1, and it's polished for like motorcycle plastics and whatnot. And it works great on RC cars. So, and if you're not good at working on your vehicle, that's a good product to buy. It's $6, usually $7 for a can. You spray enough of that stuff on there, your car's going to look good. So, that's
any issues with that kind of makes sure doing anything to the plastics?
No, not really. WD-40 can soften stuff, and it definitely can affect the tires. So if you're into like competition stuff, you're probably not going to be wanting using a lot of that stuff on your tires. But as far as just regular, no, it's just gonna, if anything, it's just gonna attract a little bit of dust. So just if you do put some on there, let it sit for a day and then wipe it off is what I would recommend. That way you've got there's not as much there for the light dirt to attract to.
Sure, sure. So there it is, guys. She's back together. Obviously, we just focused on doing one side, and there's a lot of stuff that we can still do. We can probably spend another hour and a half with you guys just swapping out the shock towers, the other diff housing as well, and some mounts. But again, go out there. Same question for me. If I can give anyone a suggestion for anyone getting into the hobby, is just have fun. Go out there. Make your expectation to have a good time. That's the only expectation you need in life, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So whether it's crawling, bashing, drag racing, whatever you choose to do and enjoying the hobby, make sure that you're doing it to the best of your ability and that you're making everyone around you enjoy it just as much. One avenue that I love about the crawling aspect is when you break down, first thing someone says, hey, you need tools, bro? Are you good? What broke? You know what? I think I got that. Let me help you out. It's that camaraderie that I feel makes the crawling part of the hobby my personal favorite. So go out there, help each other out and have a good time, and for what it's worth, thank you. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys hanging out. We appreciate you guys stopping by. We appreciate you guys being part of this episode highlighting the Gen8 V2. We went over a lot of the Treal products as well as the Redcat racing products. We went ahead and replaced the lower link mounts with some Treal ones, as well as the diff covers with some Treal ones to add a little bit more weight. That's all we have time for today, but don't miss out, because I think in the next few weeks, I will be doing an actual live Wendigo build. And it's going to be a 2-part series. And it's just going to be a dual camera setup. I'm going to work on some angles a little bit better. And I'm just going to build it. So if you guys want to come out, hang out, talk RCs, and watch me just wrench away on a Wendigo and put it together so you guys can see it firsthand, this will be the spot.
That and if you guys have any suggestions on maybe some stuff that you're seeing that we're not offering, don't be afraid to throw those in the comments or email us here at Redcat and say, hey, we'd kind of like to see these items. Maybe you guys can offer this or that for one of your products. We're always looking for the next thing to kind of jump on. So, and the community is a great place to get that information. So they're the ones spending the money, keeping us here, giving us jobs. So we do listen to all the feedback. So if you have anything, whether it be negative or positive, please let us know.
Right. That's a great thing about the internet. We can just delete the negative and just stick with the positive.
I mean, you got to take the good with the bad, right?
Yeah. And with that said, guys, again, thank you so much to all of you guys that hung out and actually are still here all the way through. We appreciate every single one of you guys. This is going on, I think, the 4th or 5th episode of Redcat Live. We do not want to slow down. We want to bring you more and more as we go. So if you have suggestions and things that you want me to highlight as far as Redcat Racing and the products, make sure you guys drop a comment below. Who knows? I might do it. I might not, but at least I'll listen. So, guys, until next time, we appreciate you guys. Much love from Redcat Racing and the rest of the Redcat Racing family. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.